Hi, I'm Scott from DefyNewYork.com, and so basically, I got into sneakers when I was a very little guy. I was about 5 or 6 years old, and it started with the Nike Air Alpha Force and the BB 4600. And I don't know what it was about those two shoes, but I do remember that the BB 4600 had this nice font that I always loved. This big Reebok font with the big British flag, and it always just stood out to me. And then from there, as I got older, all these different shoes came out, and all the marketing campaigns with it, Bow Nose and Rock and Roll Tennis and Pump Up and Air Out. And from there, once I got my first job, that's when the addiction kicked in, the real addiction kicked in, because then I could go out and buy all the sneakers I wanted, and then that's when the trips into the city came, and I was buying up all this old stuff, old magazines, catalogs, and then from there came the website DefyNewYork.com, and some of you may know, some of you may not, but I always go really deep into the history of footwear and footwear culture. And other brands, they tend to stick. I mean, other sites tend to stick with what's new, and I like to mix that with the old, so you kind of understand the transition of where things came from and where they're going. And so today I brought a little sneaker bag, just a very small sampling of goodies that I just was going to talk about. Beginning with the Nike Air Command Force Pump. This released back in 1990, and it was Nike's answer to the Reebok Pump. So it had the pump in the collar, and you'd pump it up, and then you'd have the release. And this was endorsed by David Robinson. Most of you remember Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. And the original came in 3 different colorways. There was this one, there was like a kind of like an infrared and a gray and teal. And Nike brought it back. I was shocked. I had advocated for this shoe to come back for many, many years. I had a Facebook page and all that. And so when it came back, it was a monumental retro. And Nike slammed it, with the exception of the pinky toe crushing. That's the only thing. This will crush your pinky toes. The second shoe I have here is my all-time favorite. This is the Nike Air Tech Challenge 2 3 1/4. So this is an original colorway, retroed in 2014. It retroed before that in 2008, but I think this is the better one. This is part of the Rock and Roll Tennis, Andre Agassi, and the sentimental value it has to me as far as the colorways. This colorway is that my grandmother, this was the first expensive pair of sneakers I ever owned, and my grandmother purchased them for me. And I'll never forget it. Like, she was like terrified of my mother because my mother was so against expensive sneakers, and when she bought them for me, it stayed with me. I'm an older guy now, and now I just remember back to when I was a kid, and I can still remember the smell of the store, the smell of the shoe, the employee bringing them out to me, and it was an important moment for me as far as footwear goes and my love for it. And so this is always going to be a special pair for me. Let's see what else we got. The Bow Nose. The Bow Nose. This is the Trainer Max 91. This shoe is another shoe I owned as a child. This is the original with the real gray suede, not this nubuck garbage that they've been putting out for the past couple of years. So the funny story I have about these is that I live by the water, and I just got the Trainer Max 91, and what wound up happening is I'm riding my bike through flood water, and I did this all the time. And then one day I had a scooter, and I was riding it through the flood water. I thought I was gonna make it, and I'm like, and all of a sudden, right into the water with my gray suede Trainer Max 91. They were never the same, but I still love them, and I wore the heck out of them. So another great one. And you'll remember the commercial where Bo says, he's an athlete, not an actor. And that's when Bo was, I think, recovering from his injury. So it's a special shoe, a special commercial, another gem from Nike. The Ewing 33 High, 1990. This was a big shoe. I know there's a lot of people that say the Adidas rivalry is the #1, and I love that shoe. But this shoe is, to me, it's a real New York shoe. Pat had just left Adidas on bad terms at that point, and then he had his own brand. He was the first athlete to have his own sneaker brand. And so the designer took some inspirations from the Jordans, but he did something interesting with the strap, and he made it on the heel. It was just, he flipped the script on it. And a lot of different people wore it. You had Rakim, Run DMC, you had Flavor Flav. There were endless number of people that were rocking it. Joe Pesci, you know, some of you may or may not know that. But it was like a New York shoe. Had a New York attitude, and it's still one of my all-time favorites. And the last one, because it's Air Max month, is one of my favorite, probably my favorite Air Max of all time, the Air Max 90 Infrared. This is from the Vintage Pack, 2012. So you have the pre-yellowed midsole and the vintage effect on the sole. This shoe in this colorway, Tinker Hatfield masterpiece. There's what else can I say? It's a masterpiece. And I remember as a kid going into the store, and I wanted to buy them, and I tried to talk down to them, to my mother, thinking that reverse psychology, she'll probably buy them for me. And I remember saying, ew, the air bubble is so big. You know, what were they thinking? And it didn't work because they were too expensive. So that was the end. But I got them now, and I've had multiple pairs of these. This is one of the better ones. The 2003 Euro was pretty good, 2002. But overall, I love these. So that's what I brought today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please check out defynewyork.com. And thank you, MSG, for having me.